Politico obtaining an 89-page leaked Supreme Court draft opinion. It appears the High Court might overturn Roe v. Wade. President Biden earlier calling for a more pro-choice Congress in wake of the bombshell leak. We will have more reaction from both sides of the aisle and the media in just a bit. But first, we want to go live now to our congressional correspondent, Kilmeny Dukart, joining us now outside of the Supreme Court steps where protesters have been gathering since late last night. Kilmeny, good morning.
Good morning, Sean and Emma. We've been standing outside the Supreme Court for a few hours now. It started off relatively quiet, but then there were some very tense exchanges between pro and anti-abortion activists, leading to some expletives and some chanting on both sides at each other. We've seen an increased police presence here, many police on bicycles, and also those barricades went up last night when that news broke from the Politico leak, and that led to protests and demonstrations that we saw yesterday evening. It cannot be understated what an unprecedented breach of court tradition this is, triggering the reaction that we have seen now, and that was perhaps the intent all along. All of this centered around the Mississippi case, Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization, which dealt with the state banning abortion after 15 weeks of pregnancy, putting it in direct conflict with the 1973 landmark ruling Roe versus Wade, which prevented states from banning abortions before 24 weeks when what is termed as fetal viability, when scientists say a fetus can survive outside of the womb. Looking at that Politico report leaked draft opinion from February by Justice Samuel Alito, that would have come out 2 months after oral arguments. It says, quote, Roe was egregiously wrong from the start. Its reasoning was exceptionally weak, and the decision has had damaging consequences. And far from bringing about a national settlement of the abortion issue, Roe and Casey have inflamed debate and deepened division. It's time to heed the Constitution and return the issue of abortion to the people's elected representatives. As your previous guest just mentioned, this has reignited a lot of reaction. If there aren't 60 votes in the Senate to do it, and there are not, we must end the filibuster to pass it with 50 votes. On the other hand, you have Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas celebrating the decision, if true, saying that this is a massive victory for human life, but tweeting, "This is a blatant attempt to intimidate the court through public pressure rather than reasoned argument. I hope my fellow former clerks and the entire legal community will join me in denouncing this egregious breach of trust." And this is something that people on both sides of the aisle are looking into right now. Very unhappy with the leak here. Democratic Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi issuing a joint statement saying several conservative justices who are in no way accountable to the people have lied to the Senate, ripped up the Constitution, and defiled precedent and the court's reputation, all at the expense of women who could soon be stripped of bodily autonomy and constitutional rights. We are 189 days away from the November midterm elections. This is all happening as Ohio heads to the primary. They head to the ballot box. This is undoubtedly going to potentially have an impact on the issues that will be bringing voters to the polls. But more so than that, the argument of whether the Supreme Court should be packed, whether justices should be added to that. Certainly something that we saw during the confirmation hearings of the new Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, with a lot of fears from her support for progressive groups that the court would essentially be headed in that direction.
Yeah. Calls for court packing, again, adding additional justices to the already 9 justices. Kilmeny Dukart live with the very latest. Kilmeny, thank you. Joining us now with reaction to hopeful lawmakers, future lawmakers, Minnesota congressional candidate Jennifer Carnahan is joining us. Also with us, Virginia State Senate candidate Tina Ramirez. Great to see you both. Thanks so much for coming on. And wow, what a historic time to be having these conversations, quite frankly. Jennifer, I'd like to start with you. What was just your overall reaction? Again, this stemming from a political article that cited a leak of an opinion draft from the U.S. Supreme Court.
Yeah, you know, my personal journey, on the day I was born, I was found abandoned outside a hospital in South Korea next to a garbage dumpster. And I know that my life could have been very different. And so every day that I wake up, I am grateful that I have lived an incredible life and I'm an American citizen. And this news certainly has come out and had a significant impact on our entire country. But the important thing to note, and the bottom line is, states' rights are important. Returning the legislation and the rules to the states, to elected representatives, government of the people, by the people, and for the people is important. And protecting life and standing for those is also of critical importance to this country.
What an incredible story. Jennifer, we're so glad that you're able to join us and share that with our viewers today. And Tina, as you look toward the election season, a lot of candidates' position on whether they identify as pro-life or pro-choice, that's going to be coming into question here, especially in light of this most recent news and possibly a final decision on the future of Roe v. Wade. What would you tell voters on the campaign trail, Tina, about where you stand?
Well, thank you for having me. When I was pregnant with my daughter, I was about 6 weeks pregnant when my ex-husband left, and we've never seen him since. And so I made the easy choice at that time of choosing life in a very difficult situation, and I realized that that's where a lot of women find themselves. But during my pregnancy, I had several people ask me if I would have an abortion. And all I can say to people out there is that when you tell a woman that, when you ask her if just because she's in a difficult situation, why does she just have an abortion, you're essentially assuming that her child is somehow less valuable of life. This Sunday is Mother's Day. And this decision that was leaked wrongfully, of course, I just think is such a symbol of hope for voters and for people that believe in our Constitution, that believe that life begins at conception, that want women to have that greatest blessing of life, like the candidate for Congress shared. We deserve that freedom. That is a human right. I fought for human rights around the world for people in many different countries. And, when the Supreme Court first decided Roe v. Wade, they didn't know when human life began. We have no doubt. Science has told us when it begins. And, that's something that's undeniable. And we need to protect our Constitution, protect the right to life at this point. And this is the right decision. And I'm honored that we were able to know about it a few days before Mother's Day. Yeah. If it is going to take place, it's extremely encouraging as a mother.
Well, thank you again for sharing your story. What beautiful pictures you shared with us as well, you and your daughter. There have been a lot of responses, as we know. We've seen pro-choice activists gather at the steps of the Supreme Court, and there's been reaction online as well, specifically from states' governors. Who could now be really playing a role in the future of abortion within their states. This is from New York Governor Kathy Hochul. She tweeted this out saying, quote, "I refuse to let my new granddaughter have to fight for the rights that generations have fought for and won, rights that she should be guaranteed for anyone who needs access to care. Our state will welcome you with open arms. Abortion will always be safe and accessible in New York." That tweet continues. Then South Dakota Governor Kristi Noem tweeting this: "If this report is true and Roe v. Wade is overturned, I will immediately call for a special session to save lives and guarantee that every unborn child has a right to life in South Dakota." Obviously, these are two different states and two different reactions to this draft memo being leaked. Jennifer, the fact that it has been leaked before an official decision comes out, do you think the justices who've signed on to the majority opinion will feel pressure to change where they stand on the matter?
I think it should be a concern to all Americans that there was this level of breach and a leak from the highest court in our nation. It would not be surprising to me to find out that this came from somebody on the left to do exactly that, apply pressure to the justices as they are doing their work, important work for this country. Governor Noem is someone that I have always looked up to and respected. I think she is a strong and fierce leader, and I think that her words are important, and it's great that she got out there to share that, and she does good work in South Dakota.
And we'll be watching for all of these lawmakers with their reactions, and we appreciate you sharing yours with our viewers today. Jennifer Carnahan and Tina Ramirez, thank you both for coming on and chatting. We appreciate it. Thank you.